Dyskyon Mall.
Chapter 1. Kimura Industrial, Gratiot, Michigan, January 15, 2026. Arthur Krim stepped onto the Oculus floor like he'd done it 100 times. Shoulders loose, hands empty, eyes cataloging everything. Above him, the gantry crane traced a silent path along its rails. Cables swayed slightly from its bulk, half a dozen engineers chasing the motion below, checking tension, talking into headsets. A few glanced at Arthur, then quickly stalked. They knew who he was. They knew better than to interrupt him. The dome itself rose around them like a cathedral made of industry, crystalline panels reaching skyward, catching the orange stormlight bleeding through the upper seals. It was supposed to be artificial dusk. It looked more like judgment hour. Arthur didn't slow down. He walked the line, weaving through pylons and consoles, ignoring the static chatter in his ear. One of the junior techs flinched when he passed. That happened sometimes. Arthur didn't mean to radiate menace, but he also didn't try not to. He was in his early 40s, built like someone who spent less time in gyms and more time surviving wars no one wrote down. His coat hung just loose enough to hide what he was carrying. His silence did the rest. Behind him, a chemical wash unit hissed and cycled. "Krim," someone called across the floor. "They're rebalancing the timing array." Arthur didn't answer. He was already calculating the failure points in his head. Across the hall, Commander Sarah Bachman shouted instructions from inside her exosuit. Burn lines along the limbs pulsing bright. The servo cores hummed at a low, dangerous pitch. She was flanked by 2 lift techs, trying to keep pace as the crane positioned itself directly overhead. She saw Arthur, didn't nod, didn't wave.
He didn't either.
That was their version of small talk. Overhead, the last dome panels locked into position. The structure vibrated, barely perceptible, like something inside the building was excited. As if the architecture itself knew what came next. In exactly 1 hour, a proprietary refractory satellite would pass over Gratiot airspace. The energy pulse it delivered would hit the Janus array dead center. No delay, no margin for adjustment. Arthur stopped beside a calibration console, watched the team from a distance, folded his arms. This was the part no one ever rehearsed. The moment before the new rules started writing themselves. "You're late," Yuto Kimura said without looking. He sat perched on a utility cart, long coat draped over the edge, eyes locked on a security feed showing a near miss with a departing truck. His voice was even, clipped, and slightly frayed.
"Perfect timing, as usual,"
pinching the bridge of his nose. Arthur flexed, and the armor plates beneath his denim jacket realigned. Combat protection wrapped in everyday fabric, a disguise that worked on civilians.
"There was a hitch with the subjects."
Yuto's gaze snapped to him now, sharp and unforgiving.
"Did the governor sign off?"
Arthur nodded once.
"Death Row's finest. Already inbound through the utility tunnels. No outside eyes, no loose ends."
Yuto gave a thin nod and looked toward the eastern tunnel entrance. Arthur followed his line of sight. A unit of armed guards emerged, escorting 8 prisoners in shackles. Men with hollow eyes and shuffled steps. Disposable lives, repurposed for science.
Showtime.
The cart hummed to life as it rolled toward the Oculus Center. The triangular formation of crystalline pylons flickered faintly, light bleeding from seams not visible a moment ago. In their center stood the synchronization array, its black boxes humming with latent energy. Behind it, a massive parabolic dish refracted light into a warping halo. They were about to punch a hole in the fabric of reality. "A turn of the screw, Mr. Kimura," Arthur briefed. Yuto said nothing. His focus remained locked on the towering instrument in front of them. Arthur waited, then,
Humor me. One last time, explain it to me like this isn't a test run.
Yuto smirked faintly, then relented. The satellite enters its pulse window in just under 20 minutes. It will transmit a multispectral energy surge, precisely aligned with our superconductive lattice. That surge elevates our containment core beyond traditional thresholds, into the liminal band.
Arthur raised an eyebrow.
And that's when the fingerprint matches?
Yuto nodded.
The pulse carries a signature, not just power, but identity. When mirrored through the core, it opens the breach. Temporarily controlled.
Arthur glanced up toward the exposed sky.
Using your father's designs.
Yuto's jaw tightened.
His framework, our improvements.
But the risk's the same.
A klaxon split the air. The gantry crane groaned to life, locking into the massive platform embedded in the chamber floor. Steel and hydraulics hissed in violent harmony. Slowly, with monumental effort, the platform began to rise. What it revealed was no mere craft. A ship, massive, angular, born of aerospace and madness. Not a plane, not a submarine, not a tank, something else.
I've been waiting to see this up close. A ship that can traverse air, land, sea.
And places with the absence of all three.
Arthur said nothing, but his fingers unconsciously traced the face of an old silver pocket watch, a relic from another life. It ticked steadily in his hand.
15 minutes.
The prisoners were guided into position, each assigned to a ringed platform near the base of the primary core. Their eyes said everything they didn't dare speak. Overhead, the dome was fully open now. The storm hadn't broken. It circled like a vulture. Security began clearing non-essential personnel. Arthur stayed. Yuto stayed. The countdown had begun. The breach was coming, one way or another. Yuto stepped out of the electric cart, his boots tapping against the reinforced flooring as he approached the lead column. Behind him, Arthur followed, his gaze scanning the line of prisoners standing in rigid formation. Security had positioned them directly behind the black observation boxes, 4 per box, arranged in single-file lines like livestock awaiting an unseen fate. Yuto clasped his hands behind his back, his voice cutting through the low hum of machinery.
Before you is a viewing port. You will use it to monitor the liminal stream we are about to receive. When called upon, you will move forward and look directly into the port. Do not turn away. Do not move from your station. Do not speak unless instructed by myself or Mr. Krim. Failure to comply will result in the immediate termination of your amnesty deal.
A tense silence followed. No one questioned him. The prisoners, men already condemned to die, knew better. To the right of the main console, Dr. Aaron Howell darted between pressure-suited engineers like an over-caffeinated wasp. Petite but grounded, she moved with kinetic purpose, issuing commands while balancing a digital slate and half-clipped helmet under one arm. Her gray eyes scanned the readings with razor intensity, a thin braid bouncing against her shoulder as she adjusted the torque sensor on the nearest containment node. The object of everyone's unease stood motionless in the center of a reinforced crate, golden circuitry webbing across its dull alloy surface. Treated inside and out with bismuth, it pulsed faintly beneath its restraints, like it was breathing. The countdown timer flickered to life. 180 seconds. At the edge of the elevator slab, ship's company gathered in their own pressure suits, helmets clipped to their belts. Yuto retrieved his suit from the cart and began slipping it on. As he adjusted the seals, he noticed Arthur doing the same.
What the hell are you doing?
Arthur barely glanced at him as he secured his helmet.
Aaron's console is not in test mode, and the entire Air Force contingent is aboard doing drills. Convenient. You're going to need me when shit hits the oscillating device. And it always does.
Yuto didn't argue. Instead, he turned his focus to the columns as a faint shimmer of light cascaded from above, like the first hints of a sunrise peeking over the horizon. Then, suddenly, the facility was bathed in a blinding pulse of blue-white energy. The liminal stream had arrived. A dark rainbow of shifting hues ignited inside the crystalline columns, refracting in chaotic patterns.
Convicts, first row to your station. Move.
At that moment, an e-bike zipped into the Oculus dome. Victoria dismounted, gripping her EVA helmet in one hand, her expression tight with urgency. She made a beeline for Yuto, whispering something that no one else could hear. Whatever she said, it made his already strained expression darken into outright fury.
No!
Yuto spat, his suit's faceplate fogging slightly from his breath.
You have to tell them.
You are free to leave.
Yuto snapped, jabbing a gloved finger toward the exit. Staff members turned to watch. The tension in the air was palpable. Victoria's jaw tightened, her fingers flexing around her helmet. Seeing she wouldn't get through to him this way, she yanked her helmet on and reached for her suit's radio, only to find that Yuto had already locked her out of all communications except his private channel. 2 prisoners approached the ports. On the left, a bulky gray-haired man with prison ink curling over his knuckles and up both forearms. He shuffled forward with the slouch of a man who'd been in fights he didn't win. On the right, Thomas Wu. Tall, elegant, perfectly composed, his deep-set eyes betrayed nothing. At over 6 feet, Wu carried himself like someone who had never been caught unless he wanted to be. Born in Taipei, reborn in courtrooms and penthouses across 4 continents, a con artist of myth, a seducer by trade, a killer by accident, or so he claimed. Wu didn't blink. He just stepped up to the port like it was a mirror he expected to recognize himself in. The slab elevator rumbled to life, thick fog curling up from the warm air below as it ascended. Slowly, the massive ship housed beneath the Oculus dome came into view, an enormous hybrid of an all-terrain vehicle and spacecraft. A single, colossal tank tread wrapped around its center line, lending it an almost reptilian appearance. Its sheer size rivaled that of a modern naval destroyer. Victoria refused to back down. She turned toward Arthur for support, but before he could act, Sarah Bachman intervened. The exosuited commander stepped between them, gripping Victoria's arm with enough force to make her stumble back.
You're done here. What the hell is going on, Yuto?
A personal matter. You needn't concern yourself.
Outside the dome, Sarah led Victoria away. As soon as they cleared the entrance, Sarah confiscated her security fob and activated her comms.
I don't know what you did to piss off Mr. Kimura this late in the game, and I don't want to know. Your site security has been revoked. Because this is both a government and corporate installation, you are no longer authorized to be here. Your retina scan will get you through the gate. We'll box up your belongings and ship them to you.
You must have received orders, Commander. You know what's happening.
Sarah barely glanced at her.
Of course, I have a launch to attend, and you? You're fired.
Without another word, Sarah turned and strode back toward the Oculus dome, the motors in her exosuit whirring softly. The massive hangar doors slammed shut behind her, leaving Victoria standing in the freezing Michigan air, alone, stunned, and very much aware that something had gone terribly wrong. Kimura personnel flooded the loading deck of the strange craft as its running lights pulsed to life, sweeping from bow to stern. Electronic systems hummed and flickered, cycling through automated tests. Howell's voice crackled over the radio.
We hit threshold early. Mark it. Find those vectors.
At each black box, guards slid open the viewing ports. A wave of garbled static ripped through the chamber, sending a cold shiver through the air. Overhead lights flickered wildly. The burly man with knuckle tattoos stepped forward, rubbing his wrists.
So all we gotta do is look.
He trailed off as he leaned in, peering into the unknown. Blink. On the right, the tall Asian man, Thomas Wu, stepped up in silence, eyes widening, pupils dilating until they swallowed the whites. Shapes, alien, fluid, unreadable, danced across his irises, their flickering reflections catching a nearby guard's eye. The guard instantly seized up and collapsed like dead weight, his body convulsing, froth spilling from his lips. Medical personnel in hazmat suits rushed in, dragging the spasming man away. The burly prisoner staggered back from the viewport, his face drained of color. His hands went to his head as if to shield his mind from whatever he had glimpsed.
Fuck this. Can I just go back to death row?
Howell flagged down Yuto.
The guy on the right, Thomas Wu. He locked the signature the moment he stepped up. We're at 50%.
Yuto nodded, watching Wu's still form.
3 more prisoners approached the viewport on the left, 3 more failures. 2 suffered violent convulsions, thrashing like fish yanked from water. The third collapsed in a fetal position, wailing, clawing at his own face until his nails dug deep, turning his skin a blotchy, fevered red. Through it all, Wu stood motionless, unfazed. Then the 4th man approached, a lean African-American with deep scars trailing up his arm. He hesitated, shifting his weight, then suddenly lunged. His foot hooked around the assigned guard's ankle, yanking him off balance. In the same motion, he grabbed the guard's helmet and slammed his head against the viewport.
You take a look, rent-a-cop.
Guards surged toward the scuffle, then everything stopped. The air itself froze. Howell's monitor pulsed with new data.
Signal lock all vectors.
Above them, the overhead iris dome snapped shut, a last-ditch safety measure, but it was too late. Black light surged through the crystalline columns, converging into a rectangular portal. At first, a mere sliver. Then, it grew.
We have breach.
The ground beneath Arthur vanished. One moment he was standing, then he was plunging into pure blackness. His fingers barely caught the edge of the deck, one arm straining to hold him up.
Micro-portals splintered outward, reality tearing like a frayed sheet. Yuto dropped flat to the ground, gripping Arthur's wrist.
Hold on!
Arthur kicked at nothing, trying to find footing where there was none. Then Yuto saw it. Far beneath Arthur's struggling form, something else existed in the void. A space not part of the Kimura facility. About 30 feet down, a dimly lit, disheveled office room floated in the abyss. Papers were scattered across a desk, an old rotary phone sat off the hook. A ceiling fan spun lazily, as if someone had just left in a hurry. And standing in the center of it all, a man in a pearl-white suit. His skin was obsidian, his face blank, featureless. Yet Yuto knew it was looking at him.
Not up. 1 replaced with theta. We iterate. Gold to concrete. Steel washed away to dust. Iterate. Dust. Theta.
A voice crawled through Yuto's mind, distant and warped, like a needle scratching across a vinyl record.
Curiouser. And curiouser.
Yuto's spine felt like it was compressing. Then the room, the figure, began to fade. Yuto gritted his teeth. yanking Arthur up with all his strength. Arthur collapsed onto solid ground, panting. Yuto's hands were shaking, but when he looked back down, the portal and the office within were both gone. The floor was real again.
Howell, check the tethering stabilizers. We've got fractal breaching. Rein it in.
Yuto hollered into the radio. One by one, the stabilizer coils failed. The breach wasn't collapsing. It was growing. Without the shielding in place, the facility was exposed to a sudden, violent vacuum. Personnel, equipment, overhead fixtures, everything unsecured was ripped toward the expanding void. Yuto, Arthur, Howell, security, and the 3 surviving prisoners clawed their way toward the ship, fighting against the relentless pull. The abyss wasn't satisfied with looking back. It was hungry. The Janus trembled, its reinforced hull groaning as the rift expanded. The ship's external floodlights flickered, their beams swallowed by the writhing blackness beyond. Sarah Bachman gritted her teeth and threw her weight against the last surviving technician, shoving him up the loading ramp.
Move, damn it.
His pressure suit was torn at the knee, exposing raw skin to the vacuum's relentless pull. He gasped, clutching her arm as his boots scraped for purchase. Behind her, the last of the security staff scrambled up, their faces twisted in terror. The void was close. She could feel it, like standing at the edge of a bottomless pit, except the pit was alive. Yuto stood at the ramp's hydraulic controls, gripping the emergency lever with white knuckles. He didn't pull it yet, not while she was still outside. Sarah turned back just in time to see the abyss roll forward like an ink wave, consuming everything. The Kimura facility, the loading deck, the control consoles, gone. Aaron Howell screamed something over the ship's intercom, something about tethering points failing, but Sarah wasn't listening. She ran. The ground vanished behind her. The air turned thin. Her feet left the surface for a split second, and in that instant, she felt it. A hand, no, a tendril brushing past her shoulder. It wasn't physical. It wasn't real, and yet she felt it worm its way into her mind, pressing against her thoughts, searching. Sarah collided with the ramp, suit venting waves of heat from the strained movements.
Shut it now.
The ramp sealed, and as it did, the exoskeleton and its occupant rolled into the airlock with a hard clang. For a moment, the only sound was her ragged breathing inside the helmet. Then the ship lurched. A violent pull threw them all to the deck as the Janus was wrenched forward, sucked into the rift. Arthur barely managed to crawl to a control panel, slamming his palm onto the ship-wide intercom.
All hands, brace for...
The breach swallowed them. Darkness. Sarah couldn't tell if her eyes were open or shut. The pressure in her skull was unbearable. A high-pitched frequency whined in her ears, like something vast and hungry scanning her very essence. Then motion. The Janus was moving. The external monitors flickered, displaying a kaleidoscope of impossible colors, shifting in ways the human mind wasn't meant to comprehend. The ship's hull vibrated like a struck tuning fork. Inside the bridge, Yuto struggled into the captain's chair. Arthur gripped the edge of the console beside him.
Are we through?
Yuto exhaled.
Yeah.
A long silence. Then Aaron Howell's voice crackled over the intercom, shaking.
Welcome to the other side.